welcome. At this point, you should have opened the handout in Google Classroom that goes along with this PowerPoint slideshow. And make sure you read the questions like one ahead so you can see what kind of answers you're looking for. So for example, your first question asks, what does HTML stand for? And here it is on your screen, Hypertext Markup Language. So you want to pause the video, erase the blank that's on your handout, completely erase it. Just double click on it and you can erase it, and then type in Hypertext Markup Language. That is what HTML stands for. The web offers all kinds of things from email. You might know some people who shop on there, reading all kinds of news, whether it's fake news or real news. Of course, you watch videos and music. You can take classes, learn things. Obviously, there's an endless list. That's just a little overview of some of the things we do on the web. The web address is actually called the URL. Now, I know this is your next question on your handout, Uniform Resource Locator. You usually call it the web address. An example of a URL would be cnn.com. So .com is the extension. Okay, so that stands for something. Maybe you know what it is. Think for a second, do you know what .com stands for? Commercial. And we have edu for schools, gov for government, org for organizations, .net for networks. There are 2-letter abbreviations. There are quite a few extensions out there. So this is your question number 2. What does URL stand for? So make sure you've filled that out. Your next question wants to know the difference between web browsers and search engines. So stop and think for a second. A web browser is what lets you get onto the internet. Get one in your head. Let's see if you're right. Here's some examples you can write down for that question. Microsoft Edge, which used to be Internet Explorer, but Microsoft bought it. Safari is on Apple's. Firefox, Mozilla, or Chrome is what we use here in class. So write down a couple of those for your next question. What is a search engine? Okay, so we should be a little better at that. We know those. We use them all the time. Google, we use that one quite a bit. Yahoo, Bing. There are tons of search engines. MSN, tons. So those are the main ones that you're used to or that we use in class. If there's other ones that you know, that's fine. Just make sure you know the difference between opening a web browser to get on the web or using a search engine. Now, when you're making websites, you have to make sure that your website works in Microsoft Edge and Safari and Firefox and Chrome and whatever other web browsers are out there, or else someone will not see your page the way you want them to see your page. So true web creators test their websites in all of those browsers. A hyperlink. You usually just say click on the link. I just want you to know that's actually called a hyperlink when it lets you link out to something else. Those are hyperlinks. That's why we have hypertext. Okay, what are tags? This is not on your handout. This is just explaining. A tag is how you tell an HTML page to do a certain element, a certain thing, like a table or a paragraph or a heading. So in my example here, bracket H1 bracket means a heading size 1. That's the biggest heading. And then we write the word welcome and we put bracket and slash H1 bracket. So notice they're all lowercase, and notice the closing tag is a little bit different. It's got to have that slash. That means I'm now turning off the heading 1 element. I don't want my text to be a heading 1 anymore after the word welcome. All right, this is your next question on your handout. The very first line of coding is doctype HTML. So that's going to go at the very top of the page. It's your first line. So this tells the computer's browser that a website is coming through. So pause and fill that one in. The next 2 tags are called your root tags. So line number 2 is going to say HTML, and then we add this little thing that says the language is English. Okay, so whatever language country you're in, people add that. And then the slash HTML, there's your slash because it's the closing tag, is going to be the very, very last one at the bottom. If you do 40 pages of coding, the last tag is the slash HTML tag. Make sure when you save, you put .html or .htm when you're saving them. We can put a secret message in our coding, okay? It's called a comment tag. And notice it's got the exclamation point, 2 hyphens, you write whatever your comment is, and then we do 2 hyphens, and then our closing bracket. It's only going to show in the coding and not on the web page, so it's a great way to organize your page. You can put it in the head to make notes to yourself, in the body. We're going to use them. They don't show up on the actual web page to the people looking at your website. All right, this is one of your questions on your handout. There are 2 parts to any website. The head is the first part, and nothing that we put there actually shows up on the page. It's kind of like behind the scenes stuff, telling the computer things and telling the web browser things. The body is the second part, and this is where you put all the stuff that shows up on your page. The paragraphs, the headings, the pictures, the links, the videos, all that good stuff that people actually see when they look at an internet website. So those are a couple of your questions on your handout. Go ahead and fill those in. My hint is to think of hangman. If you guess wrong, you draw the head. If somebody guesses wrong again, you start drawing the body. So think hangman, head, body. Those are the 2 parts. Hangman is my clue to help you remember those. So here's what the head might look like. And this is not on your handout, so just soak it up. So we would put bracket, head, bracket. There's your opening head tag. Now we've got a comment tag. It's just a note, basic HTML. We could take that out, wouldn't make any difference. It's not affecting the coding at all. Then we put what's called a meta tag, okay? And we're telling the char set, actually it's like the character set equals UTF-8. That's telling the computer what language is coming in, so the computer browser, etc., can read your coding. Then we put the title. Now the title is what's at the top of the web browser. You know how when you have a bunch of tabs open on your Chromebooks, and every little tab has some words on it so you know what that tab is for, what that web page is? That's what's in the title tag on a website. So as long as you type something good and descriptive there, people are going to know what website is open on their tabs. And then notice closing head tag at the very end, bracket slash head bracket. Okay, there's the head. That's the first part of every website, kind of behind the scenes stuff. The title matters for 2 more reasons. If somebody goes to clicks on the star to bookmark your page, whatever the title is will show up on the bookmark list. And this is one of your questions on your handout. So be writing these down. The other reason is because search engines look at titles. So you want a really good title. So the person who makes our junior high website is going to call it Muhammad Seymour Junior High School. Very specific. So when people search for that, they will find our website. So write those 2 down on your handout. Okay, remember the second part, hangman. The second part is the body. There's an opening body tag and a closing body tag. Now the thing is, between those 2 tags, you can have pages and pages and pages of coding. Depends on how big your website is and what all you're putting on your website. So that can vary for every page. This is the largest part. It's the main content. So every website is going to have these basic parts. Start with your doc type. Start with your root HTML tag. And then we've got the head, which gives a good specific title and a meta tag. And we end the head. So there's part 1. We start the body. We put lines and lines and lines and lines of coding. We end the body, and then /HTML means we're all done. Those bottom two lines, /body /HTML, will always be the last two tags on all of your websites. So these are all the things that can go in the body. Headings, paragraphs, lists, lines, pictures, links, tables, videos, tons. Okay, another question on your handout. How many sizes of headings are there? There are 6. H1 all the way through H6. And H6 is tiny. Okay, most guides say that H1, H2, and H3 are the main ones that are used by web producers. You really don't even see people using 4, 5, and 6. 6 is tiny. They are automatically bold. All H1s are bolded. If you need to make a paragraph, bracket P bracket. Easiest thing in the world to remember. It makes a double space after the paragraph before you start the next one. So there's a blank line between your paragraphs, like when you hit enter twice when you're in Google Docs. So P for paragraph. Easy one. When you hit the enter key in HTML, it does not make a bunch of blank lines on the web page when you view it. So this way we can put a lot of like blank lines between all our different sections of coding. So it's really, really easy to read our coding. But when we view our website, all of those spaces turn into one single space. So it doesn't mess up your main website to have lots of spacing in your coding. And that's good, because then your coding's not all run together and hard to read when you go back and you got to find out why it's not working. That's called troubleshooting. When you have to troubleshoot it, you want it easy to read. Here's another question on your handout. How do you make a single enter? Bracket, BR, stands for break. BR, break the line. And there's a space, and then you do /bracket. So this one's kind of weird because there's not 2 tags. Remember how the other ones you had an opening and a closing? This one, the opening part is the BR, and then we space, and the closing part is the /bracket. It's just a single tag, and it's just like hitting enter once in Google Docs. So it takes you to the very next line. So if I've got this line of coding, I start my paragraph, and I've got the junior high and then a break, the street address and a break, and then the rest of the address. How's that going to look on your page? It's going to look like this. Break, break, finish. So that's how you can get them on 3 lines, single spaced. All right, now we're getting into cascading style sheets. We're going to pause right here, take a break, and you're going to go back into your Google Classroom and work on the practice quizzes for our quiz that's coming up. A week from today is the goal for taking the quiz, this next Thursday. All right, good job.